Welcome everyone to another Unfiltered Founder Chat. This month we have had some changes, but I'm very, very excited to have a conversation with Ava today. I can see people have started to join, which is also exciting. Ava and I have known each other for, I want to say 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer. We're both entrepreneurs in Helsinki. And if you live in Helsinki, it's a really tiny city in a way. And you cross paths with like-minded people quite often. And Ava and I have had both clothing brands in different realms. Hers was very focused in yoga and mindfulness. And mine was sustainable fashion, but it's clothing. And we had a lot of lunches where we discussed what we were doing and why and what it meant for our larger mission and vision. And over the last, we both have closed it, so we can maybe touch upon that as well. But Ava has had a much, much, much longer entrepreneurial experience. She has over 13 years in wellness and personal development. She has led retreats around the world. She has done teacher training, and of course, a lot of different transformational experiences that blend somatic practices, sound, spirituality, nervous system regulation, all of the things that I love and I love to read about, I love to educate myself on. And that's also why I think I have time and again reached out to Ava, and we've met for lunch and conversations over coffee just to tap into each other's wisdom. And I'm very, very grateful that today you will get to hear this conversation with us and be part of it. And if at any point you have any questions for Ava, feel free to put it in the question box that's right on the, I'm assuming, right side of the screen. But first of all, welcome, Ava. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I am well. I mean, we don't even know where this is going to go, but just last time we met, we always go deep. So I'm excited. We'll see how it'll unfold. So yeah, thanks for having me. I'm very good.
Good to hear. Yeah, good to also know how someone's coming into the call. I was just telling Ava right before this that this is my first weekend away from my baby since I gave birth to her. So I was feeling a bit like, what am I doing? But I'm so excited to have this conversation. So it's always nice to, of course, be a mom, but also have your own dreams and visions which are detached from your family life. So let's start there, Ava, because you have a daughter as well. Talk to me about what it means to be a mom in business.
Yeah, I mean, I love how you're going here. This is actually I feel like my biggest practice right now is finding that balance between, being a mother and running my business. I am also, for those of you who are into astrology, I'm a Capricorn, just like yourself. Yeah. So just being ambitious and a hard worker is my very natural state of being. And especially when you are working for yourself, to set those boundaries, between when to rest and when to just to leave it, because you can't finish everything in one go or one day. That's just not going to happen. So that's definitely the thing that I feel like is something that is a continuous journey. And, I'm trying to create more systems around it, because very easily I notice when after she goes to bed, it's well, let me just do this one more thing on my website, or this one more newsletter, or whatever it is, hone this offer or something. So that's something that is a continuous learning curve and process. And sometimes I feel like if you would have a 9 to 5, it'd be probably more easier to contain, and leave the work stuff just after whatever 5, whenever you finish. But being an entrepreneur, it's definitely that continuous learning and creating just ways that work for you. So I'm trying to do that with myself and create those systems as well, so that it wouldn't be that I continue with work after she goes to bed. So that's also that personal time, but it's, yeah, a very
Yeah.
honest, unfiltered answer that
Which is
it's a
what we're
positive.
here
Yeah.
for. And I think this is such a beautiful point that you brought up, that, often people who have businesses within the wellness or personal development, people assume that they have figured everything out. But the reality is, we're all humans. We're all in our own evolution, and we're, unraveling certain layers, which maybe you haven't. And we've also unraveled already certain layers that maybe then we can like share our journey with you. But yeah, I'm always excited to talk with mums in business now more so than before, because I'm like, how are we doing this? How is this going to work out?
Yeah.
But at the same time, yes, not everyone in the community is a mom. So let's get into just your journey into entrepreneurship. Like, how did you not decide to take this 9 to 5 where you can have a close, like end of day? Whereas, building something for yourself, what has your journey been in this space?
Yeah. So I think just like life in general and especially like feminine energies is never linear, but there it ebbs and flows and goes through cycles. I've definitely had my own like journey with it, and my my entrepreneurship started already while I was living in Mexico in a small little beach town called Sayulita on the Pacific coast of Mexico. I resided there for nearly 7 years, and I moved there because of love. I was following my heart. And then, things didn't go as planned and my heart got like
Mm,
broken. And but I still ended up staying, and that's when my entrepreneurship kind of started to unfold, just like life made it happen. We were working together with me and my then boyfriend had a business together, but then after we parted ways, kind of the business also we separated into our
mm,
own branches, so to speak. It was like surf and yoga retreats, and then afterwards I was like focusing more on my own yoga retreats and yoga privates and all that. And yeah, so it was just kind of like life that took me there. So following my heart to Mexico was one step, and then life continued to unfold, and eventually I call it like I was kicked out of Sayulita in the way my friend always jokes about, like having graduated the school of Sayulita,
mm,
because it was just one of those things that it's well, first of all, many things. Like it's a very spiritually strong energy there. It's like a vortex, same kind of vibe as Ibiza or Bali or certain
mm,
places on the world that have very strong energy. And maybe my time there came to an end, and it was time for me to move back to Finland. And so I again followed my heart. I met my now partner while I was visiting here in Finland. And then when I transitioned back here and relocated back to Finland, I had to fully reinvent myself. So it was like this identity death of having been the yogi girl, the
mm,
barefoot living in a beautiful tropical place, and now coming back to a city where, I had to reinvent myself. So what I did is I couldn't just continue here with yoga privates, unfortunately, in the same way, but I actually went into corporate life, and I worked for a startup company as their event manager, which was kind of like similar to what I have been doing in Mexico. I was also working as a wedding planner at a moment, and I was working for this beautiful luxury hotel also as their like event planner. So taking
mm,
that into Finland just made a lot of sense. But, you know, having big things happen, like moving from the other side of the world to here, and then just having that reverse culture shock, even though I'm Finnish, but after having spent so many years
mm,
abroad and like completely different climate, completely different culture and everything, it
mm,
was a hard yeah, reality check to come back here. And also the culture at that workplace was not, to be honest, it was not healthy. It was very toxic. I was running 23 events in 1 month. My eyelid was twitching, so I was,
mm.
my nervous system was
Honestly,
like
it's crazy.
showing a red flag, like waving it in front of my face. So what I did is I eventually quit, and I came back to being an entrepreneur again,
Mhm.
just in time for COVID. But my point is, like, it's never like linear. It's just life has, there's curveballs that comes, and it's always just, I feel like, more of coming back to that core and that like attuning with our inner calling. And for me, it has always been like following my soul, but then sometimes we get lost, sometimes there's just something that we also need to grow through and learn. And even though it was a very difficult time, like being at that like toxic corporate world grind startup, I feel like I did grow a lot and I did learn a lot. So I'm still grateful for that experience and having had that for years. So yeah. And then after that, I came back to being an entrepreneur. That's when I started also my yoga clothing line. And and then again, same there, it was a project, in the sense of I sold it eventually, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, I don't know, time gets so
I think so. Yeah, like
yeah,
maybe
2 years
one
ago.
and a
Yeah.
half years ago.
And
Yeah.
but I feel like more than anything with what I've shared, it's like having what I'm really also proud of in my own life is I've had the courage to really follow what calls me. I've moved to Mexico. I moved back. I've lived in Bali. I've moved back. I, tried many things, and it's like trial and error. And that's through action is when we also learn, okay, what feels good for me, what resonates, what doesn't. Because if we just stay in the same place, it's how can we evolve? How can we evolve as humans? How can we evolve as business men or women? It's like, that's my message. It's like, follow your calling. And also, I'm a Scorpio moon, if again, astrology. So it's about like rebirth and death, continuous cycle. So yeah, it's a very, in a nutshell, that's kind of my journey, what's taken me here. And yeah, and now lately I feel like it's more also becoming a stronger pull to even more be like seen and follow that inner fire. And that's when like life starts to also hand you opportunities and synchronicities, and it becomes magical. And I feel like that's what's been happening for me in the past couple of years. So yeah, courage.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. You have said so many things. I'm like, we're 12
Yeah.
minutes in, and I'm like, yes, 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 yes. One of the things that I just want to like call out is this idea of like that life is meant to move in spirals and
Yeah.
cycles. It's not a linear trajectory. And so much of what is taught to us is that, your career should go like, and then I don't know where it's meant to go. Not everyone's going to become a CEO, but we're sold this idea that that's
Right.
how life is supposed to go. And what I loved that you shared is like really like going after your nudges, these little signs, these things that are pulling you. Because something I tell my clients always is, if there's something calling you, it will keep calling you till you like act somewhere. And that could also mean that you decide not to go after it and maybe try something else. And again, very beautifully said that there are lessons in every experience. So even though you end up doing something that in that moment felt safe and felt like the right thing to do, if it's not meant to be yours, you will just still come out of it having learned many lessons. And I think I personally resonate with that, with just even starting my own clothing brand, because for me, I always wanted to work with women and I felt like that was the right path. And then it didn't work out. And then now I'm doing something else. So just that it was nice to hear this said out loud by someone else, that it's okay, life will go in its own like unique ups and downs,
Yeah.
but just follow the gut, follow your intuition, and trust that there's lessons in whatever path that is coming forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me about like, so you, for a really long time, from at least from when I know you, you were working in the yoga world. So you were teaching yoga classes, you were doing teacher training, and that is still a big part of your offerings. But then a few years ago, you kind of moved into sound as well. And I have been trained under you because you offer sound healing certifications. But I am curious, like, what made you move in that direction?
Yeah. Well, I feel like also being on the spiritual path, it's like I've always been very curious about all the different modalities that are there, just like, and they're basically what they are, they're all the same, like bridges towards like deeper understanding of self
Mm.
and like connection and just different pathways towards it. But having, been a yoga teacher for 13 plus years now, and having worked with the body, I felt like sound what took like the next layer to it, or added like this next element to it that made it also like almost easier to access in a way. Like, of course, I mean, I love working and connecting and being embodied, like in the body is absolutely important. But then sometimes it's like it can be very focused on the physical asana. Like actually, like, asana in yogic philosophy, it's only one of the 8 limbs. So
Mhm.
sound can we like that way that you get into the subconscious mind and even beyond, like towards the realms of energy and frequency that are magical. So for me, it's almost been like this portal, um, if you may, like to other frequencies and energies, and opened up a lot of gateways, like that I've seen, not just in my like spiritual practice, but also in life. It's been a portal to amazing opportunities. So it's again
Yes.
just about like following that, like those nudges and calls, and your spirit, like once you start to follow the things that are,
Mm.
I feel like Gabby Bernstein calls them like spirit wings. Like once you start to follow those spirit wings, or whatever it is that you can even decide or call it, like, have a symbol for it, and create this own like language with the universe, that you know that you're on path. And I've done that, and it's pretty wild that it actually works, and you can like start seeing those and know that you are, on your path. And for me, like sound has been one of those things. I just felt the calling. I had a teacher also in Mexico she would combine yoga nidra meditation, which is like this yogic sleep meditation, with the crystal
Mm.
singing bowls. And I just noticed that it took me like in a deeper state of meditation really quickly. Instead of like, meditation can be hard. You're just sit in meditation, and also like all
Mm.
these like practice and everything will come, yes, but there's also
It is hard. It is
it's
the
hard, but
hardest thing to still your mind, and it requires, yeah, like anything that can aid it is why not?
yeah.
I am, yeah, a big, big yes to that.
So
Mm.
sound has almost been like that, like support, to that like really beautiful support for that embodied practice, to also combine the energetic layer to it, which I feel is it's
Mm.
beautiful, and deepened it in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has led you, like collaborations with Chanel, with Four Seasons, with, I think Vogue Scandinavia also had an article about you. So I think this is just an invitation to anybody who's listening to also, like, you're allowed to evolve, right? Because
Yeah.
again, like, so many people I meet feel like they have to now just stick to this niche that they have picked, but you're allowed to evolve and you're allowed to expand.
Yeah.
Um, and there's new growth, new opportunities in that direction. Um, can you talk a little bit more about just like what all are you doing right now and how you see that as part of your larger ecosystem? So one of the things that I look at entrepreneurship or leadership as now more than before is looking at yourself as a mother tree. So I don't know if you have heard of the concept, but in like old untouched forests, there are always these like anchor trees that offer nutrition and support to the other trees in their community, and they also like take resources from them when needed. But these are like really old ancient trees which carry a lot of energy, and I see entrepreneurship as that a lot, because so much of the entrepreneurship conversation and leadership conversations out in the world is around like my own ego, like what car do I have and what status do I have and how much money am I earning every month. Whereas I would love to hear people talk about what is the impact you're creating and how are you training more people. And I know from being a yoga teacher to now developing your own soma and sound, methodology and doing teacher training and sound healing, certification. Talk to me about like what that looks like for you. Like, how are you seeing your own work as like a larger ecosystem that nourishes, anyone who comes in touch with it?
Yeah, I love that metaphor of the tree. So I'm a tree hugger, so I'm like, oh, I love that. But for me, basically, like yoga and sound are the tools that I use. And now the third one that I've added recently is like mentorship on the way. And those are kind of like the ways that I use to guide people. And what I ultimately want for people to feel is that like deeper connection to self, but also to something beyond the self, to this like tapestry of life, to the unseen, whatever you want to call it. Like for some, it's God, for some, it's like soul, so spirit, whatever really resonates with you, but to understand that life is more than the flesh and bone. We are like spirits having a human experience. So a reminder of that, because we're so focused on the linear world. We're so focused on, as you mentioned earlier, like the growth and upward and just very linear, like masculine. And now when I say masculine, I don't mean like gender, but just the masculine kind of energy of life. Instead of that, like having the feminine energy of also the beingness. So being and letting yourself like be and really feel connection to self, feel connection to life, feel connection to your soul's calling. I feel like everyone here has a soul mission. We all came here with something, like an intention. Our soul has a reason why we came. So I really like want to, even for a moment, to have people experience that remembrance of, okay, I am more than just flesh and bone. I am more. I'm spirit, I'm energy, I'm a soul. And then to really empower them to also live in alignment to what is true to them. And it may look very different for all of us, as it does. We all have different soul callings and paths, but that's like the depth of it, like the gist of it. And the yoga, like the soma and sound. So soma is in the body, being embodied, but then also the frequency, the energy are like my tools for it. And then now also later on, I've added because I've already also had a lot of graduates from both my teacher trainings, like yoga teacher trainings, and my sound training. So having that mentorship, which is also working with the mindset and having, building that courage and having someone also kind of be your sounding board and almost like, yeah, sounding board, I guess, for getting into more alignment and having that courage to really live that soul alignment and calling. I guess that's like a very broad
Yeah,
answer,
yeah.
but yeah. So I
No,
feel like that those are the ways that I do it. And then how it should, like, there's many different modalities. I have my teacher trainings, I have my sound healing academy, I have the methodology of the Soma and sound, and then I do retreats and I do, corporate classes and corporate sessions. And so it's just different ways of working with these tools that I picked as my ways.
yeah. I
Yeah.
have two big questions that are coming up, but I'll ask the first one. While you're doing so much, how do you take care of yourself?
Yeah. So actually, it sounds like I'm doing so much, but like,
Mm.
let me talk you through like this day. Today, I've had one mentorship session and that's it. That's my Friday. Rest of it is
Mm.
day off, nothing. Like tomorrow, we're heading to the summer cabin. I'm going to spend there for like the weekend in nature and nothing. So it's like, yeah, it's just sometimes it's like I'm also like, if again, I love all the spiritual modalities and tools, but I'm in human design. I'm a role model / hermit, so I need to have that hermit time to be by
Mm.
myself to kind of fill my own cup. And then once I've done that, then I have energy also to give to other people. So it's about, again, balance, like having that
Right.
hermit mode and then coming out and being able to give and fill
Are
other
you a generator or what were you?
generator.
Okay, you and
Yeah.
I are very similar.
Are you a
I
generator?
have I'm a generator and I have hermit as well.
Really
And then I
interesting.
have
Yeah.
opportunist. So I love
Yeah.
like connecting with people and
Yeah.
networking, but I can easily like I need to be in nature. I need
Yeah.
no one to talk to me because it's so important to kind of integrate. So it's interesting that you and I see you definitely. I see the role model because if you haven't been following Ava on Instagram, just like her world is so beautiful. You're just like,
Thank
that's
you.
That's beautiful. And that's, you want that for yourself. And it's so interesting to hear you also just like talk about your day the way you just did, because I think this is something that I share with women as well, that, like, even on a daily basis or on a monthly basis, like our lives can also go through different seasons. So there might be certain moments in your life where you're very, very busy.
Yeah.
And then there are times where there's more space and you have more space to breathe. So it could look like a summer or a winter, depending on um, how heavy and busy it is. And that is something that is allowed, because again, we are sold this false narrative of like productivity means like 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., like filling it up and then like going to sleep exhausted, and that's when you're being productive. So talk to me a little bit about like, how do you see, like, in your opinion, what's a productive day?
Yeah, well, this is where also I do bring in some strategy, because it's like, even though like I love feminine energy of being in the flow, but then there needs to be some boundaries in also like having systems in place. And
And that's the masculine.
yeah, it's the masculine energy. We need
Yeah.
the container for it. So I have like, on Mondays, content creation, on Mondays, like newsletter creation and all that. Like if I need to do bookkeeping, it's like Monday. So it's like Mondays kind of like getting it out of the way. And then like, so I have, and then depending on if I have corporate session, obviously that'll like change the flow a little bit, because some days I might have like two or usually maybe like two or one corporate session. So then that will obviously change the flow, and same with my mentorship clients. So it just depends on what's going on. And then I have also always during the week, I have free time, like, which is amazing also, that I have like free time for myself, that to, either go to nature and just be outside, or whatever, exercise or whatever it is, go get a massage. So I do also sprinkle in those like me time and self-care moments in the week. And then also to be very also unfiltered and honest, I do also have quite often work during weekends. It's just like the way of how my business runs, especially with retreats and trainings. They're often do take place during weekends. So that's why I also can have free time during the week. So yeah, and then I would say like weekend would probably be I'd say two weekends in a month. I usually have like work the weekend. So either it's a training or retreat. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a truthful representation of
Yes.
like, especially in the work that you're in. Like, of course, if you want to retreat, it's over a weekend. Like a
Yeah.
lot of your customers are, people who have jobs and they can't really just decide on a weekday to
Yeah.
go on a spiritual break. So, I mean, that would be nice, but it's
Yeah.
not part of our reality. Um, yeah. And is there anything over like, being in this wellness space? You do a lot of posts, which I find really fun, is like things that have worked for you and things that haven't. So
Mhm.
talk to us a little bit about like, what have you seen in the wellness industry that, in your opinion, again, everyone can have their own opinion, in your opinion, is just, like marketing? And what are the things that you feel like have genuinely made an impact on you in how you take care of yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're referring to my like the things I don't do as a yoga teacher or something.
Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah,
do a few of
yeah.
those, and I
I
find
mean,
them really fascinating. I'm like, oh, look at her.
yeah.
Look at her saying what she wants to say.
I mean, this is a very unpopular opinion, but you know how like it's so trendy now to drink matcha and go to
Mhm.
Pilates. I was like, make yoga and coffee great again. Like that's like, it's just like,
That's a new
but
t-shirt.
it's just, you're right. I'm just no, but jokes aside, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of cold plunges. That's like
Mhm.
one thing that it's like getting the biggest hype, and I get it. Like fair enough. My again partner, he absolutely loves ice bathing, cold plunges. But for me, and especially like with a female body and system,
Yes. Mhm.
depending on where you're at in your cycle, it can actually damage you more than give you
Yes.
something good, like luteal phase or during your period. So I'm not a fan of cold plunges. I don't like cold water, and I'm not gonna. I've tried like forcing myself, and I've even, maybe I should, but now, again, this is, I hold the rights to change my opinion, right? So,
Yes, 100%.
but thought of maybe I should go and join one of those like courses where you learn to kind of build the resilience for tolerating cold water. But then on the other hand, I don't want to, it's like,
Yes.
so I don't do cold plunges. I don't wake up at 5 a.m. I don't even do yoga every day. I don't meditate every day. Well, I almost meditate every day, but it could be even a very short one. And I usually do it before bed. Just one of those things that I do, actually, like a visualization that I do actually almost every night before I fall asleep, because it's great for manifestation. So your brain is more, you can really rewire the brain and create, like, because the brain doesn't know what's true and what's not. So I visualize all of the things that I want to achieve, experiences I want to have, or whatever it is, clients I want to work with, whatever it is that you're calling forth. So I do that in like this theta brainwave state just before I fall asleep. And then, eventually I will fall asleep.
You will
But
fall
it's
asleep.
pretty cool, because that's like one thing that actually I recommend everyone starts doing. So take a few moments, like, and just focus on your breath. And then after that, you start to visualize the things that you want to create. And that's powerful. And that is like not gatekeeping here. That's definitely one manifestation tool that will change your life. If you haven't done it yet, I've been doing that for years now. And it's really, I'd say, one of the best manifestation tools there is. I don't know why it's not talked about even more. It's amazing. And then, so what was the question? So things I don't do.
I want to just go with that thread. Can you talk a little bit about like manifestation? Because again, it's often considered like so woo-woo and like, people don't understand it, but there's so much science behind it and there's so much proof already. But again, like, what gets shown the light is what's visible, and a lot of things stay under, or like in the dark or in the shadows. I know you, as someone who truly believes in manifestation, does a lot and has seen also a lot of results through that. Can you talk to us a little bit about why you believe in manifestation, why that is something as women we should really tap into? And even any like success stories, if you have, like what has come true for you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like last year I wanted to manifest a 6-figure business, and I did. Like, that's like proof. So it's
also, like, let's take a moment. I mean, there's some people live, but I hope everyone's cheering you, because again, wellness and like yogic lifestyle, like so many people are like, wealth is not the goal. And I truly, like, I know so many people who pursue yoga and yogic teaching in that way, and that's absolutely fine. But it doesn't mean that if someone else wants it and has it, that's wrong, because you are able to create so much more impact for yourself, for your community, when you have the resources. So congratulations on, manifesting that for yourself through hard work, not just visualizing it, but also through a lot of hard work.
Well, I want to say, first of all, like with the wealth part and the money part, like we need to move more of the money into the hands of women, first of all. Like that's that's just how it is. Like, we gave patriarchy a run. They did a lousy job. Now it's our turn, It's like, that's just how it is. And it's just our turn now. We're done with the age of Pisces. Now we're moving to age of Aquarius, which is, disruption, community, heart-centered, 5D, new earth, whatever you want to call it, same. But it's like we're moving towards this like heart-centered living, reciprocity, circular living, what you're talking about also, like women, collective, community. And one of those.
Didn't you say I have Aquarius in my chart last time we met? I'm like, this is my vision, what you're talking about. Anyway, it's not about me. Continue, please. Like, I need to check.
But Aquarius is the disruptor. It's like it's a community, and it's from this age of Pisces that we've been in, like even when you think of like religion and the fish, like the Jesus fish, you know, it's like age of Pisces where we've been, where it's having like an authority, a guru, a Donald Trump, like, you know, like a freaking someone who's on like a leader. We're moving away from that, and we're seeing the dismantling right now. You know what we've seen with the Epstein file. Sorry, I'm going like deep.
I mean, this
it's like,
is how you and I talk, and I'm like, I'm happy that also, like, it's so interesting. So many women are coming in, so I'm sure energetically they're like, what is happening in that conversation? Because this is what each and every woman has to like understand, that the way the new world is going to be birthed is through the collective, is women coming together, your ego aside, your jealousy aside, and really wanting to co-create this new world and birth this new world together. And in that, we need the money and resources to make change happen faster. You can still do it, but if you want it faster and bigger, then it's good to have the resources that support it.
Yeah, and doing it together, what you're doing also, like creating this community, it's like doing together, like, and as a sisterhood, and obviously there's like all these sisterhood wounds that we need to, because that's how we've also been, like the indoctrination of us, like the competition and all that. But we need to overcome that and get on the other side. It's a journey and it's a path, but we're already seeing it, like more women leaders, like Mexico has a like female president, like we're seeing more women in
and
power.
indigenous like knowledge is coming forth, and it's like being celebrated and acknowledged for the wisdom that it has carried for like millennia. And you don't always need, like, I always get like annoyed by people who are like, but what kind of certification do you have? Like, certification is again like patriarchy, capitalistic. Like, what you need to see is transformation that people have given and have shown, and the work they have done and applied in their own life, because there are enough people with certifications who don't do jack shit of what they say. So, you know, like, it's just like, to me, I'm like, let's unravel the things that we feel like we must do before we can build our lives the way we want. So if you're someone who wants to build a business, you don't need to have an MBA before you can do it. Like, that is one path, but there's so many more intuitive, honest, like impactful paths that exist. But yeah, for some reason, or not for some reason, we have been trained to believe that there's only one way to achieve success, which is obviously not true.
Yeah, but so absolutely, I agree 100%. And like to come back to kind of what you were asking about the manifestation. So yeah, what it comes down to. Do I believe it? Like I said, 100%, because I've seen it so many times happen in my life. You know, I've had amazing clients and collaborations, and I have actually, like, not just the 6-figure business thing. I have another example of I was thinking, this is a while back, I think last year, I was like, I really want to like have someone, maybe a hotel, like a luxurious, and we can talk about luxury too, because that's another word that has a lot of like stigma to it, but yeah, it's important to talk about it too. But then I wanted to manifest like some sort of partner, like a hotel or something, that I could work with, like do retreats with, instead of, you know, me kind of carrying all the marketing weight of it. And somewhere also in Central Europe, because as mentioned, I do have a young daughter, so like I don't want to be too far from home, even though I love traveling, but sometimes, especially short trips, it's easier just to go without her. And sure enough, like I did my visualization practice, as mentioned, always before sleep, the kind of envisioning how it would look, but not just how it would look, also how I would feel, because the feeling part is actually a really like important key component to it. So, and your mind and your body does not know if it's in the past, present, or future, because time, what is time? There's so many timelines anyway, simultaneously. So it's just kind of like, you know, there's a lot of talk now about like timeline jumping, but what that is actually what timeline or quantum leaps is, what is an identity shift. So you need to already act like the person that would be that person that would have whatever it is that you want to hold. So,
and I've also heard like collapsing the timeline, where you're like, you've already accepted that this is who you are, and boom. Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, I was envisioning this like beautiful space and like lovely hotel environment. And sure enough, like I forget, like maybe a few weeks after that, I know it was a DM, and there's DMs every now and then, and often it's someone trying to sell something, how to grow your Instagram or whatever,
Mhm.
something blah. But then I was like, who's this? And I went onto her profile, and then I noticed, oh, it's already so often, because this is what manifestation is. It's
Mm.
already connecting what is in your field. That's what
Yeah.
and I want to say to that again. Manifestation is already connecting the dots
Mm.
of something that exists in your field. That's why it's not woo or magic. It's what it is. It's opening yourself up for the opportunity that already exists in your field. Okay. Anyways, so back to
Yes.
the point. So I went and I was like, whoa, this is someone I've had numerous conversations with throughout like many years. Like she's followed me when I lived in Mexico, and we've talked about like where to stay in Sailita and all these. It's like interesting. And I go on her profile, and it says like recruiter for luxury spa hotels. And I was like, you're shitting me. And I was like, oh, hi. I'm Ava. Nice to meet you. But I guess you know who I am because you follow me. But would you ever be open to maybe like working with like an international
Mm.
teacher or someone who's not like from there? It's like, well, yes, that's what we're looking for. Do you want to hop on a call? Sure enough, we hop on a call, and that's how like the floating sound bath retreats unfolded. And it's, just one of those things that you're
And
like,
you have like figured out like a deal that happens every year, right? Like, so it's not like a one-off thing that
yeah, it's not a
happens. You
one-off
have
thing.
built
Yeah.
a
Yeah. It's
long-term
a
relationship
continuous
with
thing.
them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like one of those things that it's like, for me, it's lovely, but I know that also for like them, it's lovely. And for the
Yes.
guests, it's lovely. Like it's like a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Yeah.
And it's like soul alignment again, like synchronicity, and that like proof of that there is a divine thread that we can connect to. Like there is that
Yeah.
soul synchronicical thread that we just need to open ourselves up to. And
Can
it's,
I also just
yeah,
like call out this one thing that you said that I've been sitting with a lot in the last like 1 year is also this idea of seva or like duty or service. I know you talk about dharma as well.
yeah,
And these are all like Indian or Vedanta philosophy concepts. But I feel like more and more, what I'm starting to realize is your abundance comes from being in service to others as
yeah,
well. Of course, there's a whole conversation about like how do you price yourself and do you give your everything for free. There is that, but even when you, as you said, like running, let's say, a partnership with a luxury retreat, you want at the end of the day, want everyone to have a good experience. That's your service. You
yes,
want your clients to have a good experience, you want the hotel to have a good experience. And when you are creating that atmosphere, there's no like there's no question that abundance will not come to you. It will, because you're creating this like beautiful aura around your work that has this like nurturing, nourishing experience for everyone involved. And I meet so many founders who are like, I also want 10K months. How can I do it? Like, what systems do I need? And I'm like,
yeah,
but what's the intent behind it?
yeah,
Like, do you really care or you just want to make money? And if money is the only thing you're going without really wanting to be of service, yes, you might have some small wins here and there, but the larger, deeper life satisfaction, which is ultimately what we all are after, comes from building something of beauty, of, of value, of a good experience for everyone who's involved. And that can mean one person, 10, 20, or like thousands. It depends on your scale. But the scale should not remove the essence that you want to create.
100%. I agree with you. And I feel like also with the like the 10K months or whatever like number you want to put on it, like there can be also a lot of ego involved. So to have that discernment, like when is it your ego and when
Yeah.
is it like when is it not? And that what you said is actually like the gist of it, like being of service, you know? So
Mm.
and when you are like in the service and you're doing it soul aligned, that's when abundance like it it will just be there because it's
Mm.
already, you're not forcing it. It's like flowing. So That's the beauty of it. You don't have to force it. You don't have to fake it. It just like happens. So I
Yeah.
think those are like the key components to it.
Yeah.
And like for me, like of course it was felt like everything felt so aligned, but even more meaningful was that I know that the women that participated in the retreat actually had really deep, profound experiences and realizations and clarity, whatever it was that they needed. And because it's,
Mhm.
it's not just yoga, it's actually like channeling in the session. So
Yeah.
it's really powerful. So yeah,
Yeah.
how can I be of service is a good question to have when you are like trying to find out what it is that will bring you that abundance. How can I be of service? How can I serve more people?
Mhm. Yes, I am all for that. That's my like my mission to understand for myself as well, because I have gone through like my own metamorphosis, and it's so easy to be like, oh, like I need money and I need to make that 10K months, but I'm like, and do what with it? Like if I hate the business I created,
Yeah.
or if I just like don't enjoy the women I'm inviting into my circle, then like what's the point? Like why, what will the money do? So rather, like I want to attract women that fill my soul, fill my satisfaction, and then just truly believe that abundance that you deserve is coming your way.
Yeah.
So I am all for it. Talk to me a little bit about also like gratitude, because I'm a big believer in like gratitude practice and showing gratitude to people you love, and maintaining a gratitude diary, just because it changes my mood. But I'm curious, like, do you have that practice, or you like, what's your take on gratitude and gratitude journaling and things like that?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we've talked about like the manifestation tools. So the visualization before bed is like
Mm,
that. Definitely do that. But then another one that I've also really huge on is like very simple, and I think I started doing this 20 years ago. And it's simply having a list of 10 things that you're grateful of.
mm,
So, your home, your family, your health should be number one. And all these things that, already are good in your life. And then underneath that, 10 things that you're calling in.
mm,
And then same thing, you read it in the morning and before you go to bed. Simple. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to just read it. Read it. Think 10 things you're grateful of, and then 10 things you're calling in. Very, very simple. Because I think with abundance, what it is, it's just an energy and a reminder. Like nature is already abundant.
mm,
Apple trees grow apples. It's not like they're going to compete with the apple tree next to them. They're all going to grow their apples. And
mm,
flowers bloom, and they're all beautiful, and they don't compete with each other. They just bloom. And it's like nature is the biggest reminder of abundance. And
mm.
but then again, like we come back to the feminine energy and the seasons, and it's not harvest season all the time.
Yes.
It's not harvest season all the time. So that's also another thing, and we can't expect to be in harvest season all the time.
Mm,
So understanding that, and then just reminding yourself of abundance, very simple things like being that energy, having a basket of apples around, and having flowers, and having things that really bring
yeah.
that richness to your life in any which way is a key element to attuning your frequency to that energy, because it comes down to frequency and energy. It's an energy. Abundance is an energy. And
Mm,
then when we think of numbers, or the 10K or 100K or whatever Ks it is, that's just a number, and it's our nervous system that's going to put like how the kind of capacity to us, what's our limit, what's our ceiling that we can receive. And that's just then like about creating that resilience so that you can expand the capacity to receive more numbers, and how you attach yourself and to those numbers, because then abundance can be any number.
yeah. And you can feel abundant. Like I used to teach in the slums of Mumbai. And I feel like the kids I worked with, like they were the most abundant. Like the amount of joy they had for life and so much fun. And they're like living in small matchbox size houses, like 7 people in the same house. But like abundance isn't about money, it's about attitude for life, it's about the joy, the energy that you have. And it was one of the biggest learning experiences for me to start my career with kids from underprivileged communities, because it just shattered all these like stupid, goals we have about I will feel abundant or I will feel happy when I hit this. No, you can feel it now in this moment. While you were talking about 10K, 100K, also I remembered luxury, because I think there's a lot of like stigma around that. So
Yeah.
um how do you talk to yourself when someone's like, oh, you're working with Chanel, or you're working only with luxury hotels, things like that? How do you make sense of that?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, it comes down to neuroaesthetics. So it's like being in beautiful environments. And that's also for the nervous
Mm,
system very, very soothing. And then, because if we just the word luxury can already be like kind of, you can raise an eyebrow, like, what? Like, it can feel like out of reach, or like there's ego involved in some, and I mean, sure enough, often there is, and so, but if it's coming from a place of you being in a beautiful environment, let's say a hotel or a boutique spa or whatever it is, that's
mm,
going to be really soothing for you, and being in this energy. And that, again, speaking of abundance, that's going to also help you to attune to that frequency. So it comes down to just thinking of more of an energy,
mm,
instead of like putting those labels on it. So yeah,
mm.
like, and that, I feel like aesthetics is a huge part of it,
And
and
aesthetics and like beauty is
beauty.
such
Yeah,
a core value of being feminine. Like, even though I'm sure the feminist in you is like, I don't care about it, but like we naturally do like beautiful flowers and beautiful home. We want to make sure our decor is like aligned to how we like to experience our home energy. But as you said, like it could look very different for you and me. Like you might be interested in like a beach tropical vibe, whereas I'm like the more colors, the merrier, but
yeah,
it's beauty and it's energy for each one of us. And something I heard a teacher talk about was, if you feel any judgment towards like someone else's understanding of a concept, so even if I'm like XYZ is luxurious for me, and you immediately go into judgment mode, one, you have to recognize that your definition of luxury and my definition of luxury can be very different, and that is allowed. And second, if your immediate reaction is judgment, there's something that you also desire, which that shows, which you're uncomfortable with, which you're not yet ready to receive. And therefore, maybe spend some time unpacking that. So when we say we're anti money, like, why? Or like, if you're anti luxury, why? Like, what stories have you told? And most of us have told ourselves the story that rich people are mean, because everyone obviously is Donald
yeah,
Trump. But at the other hand, it's also the reality that in this world right now, if money was in the hands of kind, compassionate, just people, that
yes.
would be a wonderful world. So
I think
stick with
it's,
that.
what you said, like there's a few things there that I want to like double click on. And one of like what we already kind of touched upon is the, like, the money, and I like the anti-money, and in like, but we have right now the distorted masculine energy that is running the world. And yes, we're in that like transition phase of now getting it more like the again, the age of Aquarius, and the 5D energy, and all the like the feminine energy that is growing, and we have this transition period. But it's very important that, we can't just say no to money. Like, money is what runs the world. There's no way of going back to trading squirrels skins. So it's like, this is how the money is run. So it's just about like moving the power, because money is power eventually.
Mhm.
Money is
Mhm.
energy, and energy is power. So it's moving that power to the hands of
Of
women.
the right, and
Yes.
yeah, right people.
There's actually a really good book. I don't know if you've read it. Maybe I mentioned it to you already. Like, We Should All Be Millionaires.
Yeah, you
And
talked about it. I
yeah,
haven't read it yet.
and
Yeah.
it's about like that transition of moving money into the hands of women.
Yeah.
basically.
And this something that you talked about, like that's the world we are creating, but also the truth is we're not there yet.
We're not
And
there
so
yet.
to make that journey happen, what needs to happen? And something like just from Hinduism that my mom keeps bringing up, like when we see all the the pain, the suffering, the wars, the conflict in the world today, that age of darkness in Hinduism is called the Kali Yuga or Kali
Yes.
Yuga, which is again, associated with the goddess Kali, the divine feminine energy, which is associated with destruction and dissolution.
Yeah.
And of course, there's one invitation that when you know that we're in the era of destruction and dissolution, there's an invitation to birth something new. And what do you want it to be? To never forget that and keep building towards it. But at the same time, and my mom is also here, so she can maybe type if she is listening. But Kali Yuga is like, I don't know, like 100,000 years long. So I don't know where we are. We might be at the beginning, at the end, in the middle. So if you also need to like hold this idea of sustainability in a way that this requires long-term work. Again, we have been trained to say success is only if you can do 10x next year, but
Mhm.
success is holding your vision for the long run. And can you continue to build piece by piece towards this new world that you want? And if that requires you to have money right now, like make money so you can build that world that you're wanting to build, that is going to nourish a lot more people who need to be nourished, and not hold it for your own benefit. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I'm always arguing with my mom that when is this Kali Yuga going to end? And she's like, we don't know.
It'll
We'll
take a
have to
while,
see.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's like this taking like having these conversations, they're like these are all like having more people awaken to this shift, to the transition,
Yeah.
awareness, spreading awareness, waking up to this energy, and also like being very like vocal about it, and I feel like also as women, we when it comes to entrepreneurship and it's like we have a very hard time with our self-worth and stating our value. So it's like all these things, and having the age of Aquarius, which is more about, again, the collective energy and community and support. It's like this is how we do it together, supporting each other. And then
Mm.
obviously also like having what you said, the seva to it, like the selfless
Mm.
service, so that it's like the archetype of the mother, of the maiden, of the crone, of the
Matriarch.
wise
Yes.
woman, like the matriarchal values of caring for each other, but also having kind of the ovaries to make the change. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
having like let's like say like we also need to raise that self-worth. We need to take actions. We need to have courage. We need
Yeah.
that Kali fire. We need the energy to also live soul aligned and create the change.
Yeah.
So it can't be just like like we have to have,
Yeah.
in Spanish they say huevos, like like you need to have the
The fire.
the
Yes.
fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true. Um, this is immediately making me go into, like, for the longest time, and this is just me, I don't want to attack anybody by saying this, but I used to be very vocal about social causes online. And
Mhm.
like every demonstration, every social justice movement, every sustainability movement. And I also ran my previous business really focusing on sustainability and why sustainable fashion is good, da 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 da. um, and for me, a part of it which I unpacked was also my ego, wanting to come across as someone who's like, oh, I'm better than everyone else. And look, I figured this way out of living a better life. Whereas it's not like this idea of empathy and love and seva isn't about telling people what to do with their life, but showing them that mirror to be like, hey, there's another way. If you aspire to something else, like there, if, like, for example, you're at a place where, again, going back to fashion, you can't afford the highly expensive sustainable fashion brands because that's what it takes to make good quality clothing. Then to, like, instead of feeling bad about it and then doing like a Shein haul, can
Mm.
you hold yourself to a higher regard and build your life towards it? And can you get mentorship and support or sisterhood who will hold you there? Because a lot of people are acting from a lack because there's no support system around. So, what you said about sisterhood and matriarchal energy of like, sharing and teaching each other and supporting each other, I feel like that's so, so, so needed in the world right now. Um, and if you're listening and if you ever feel like, you're alone, you must find your sisters. Like I always reach out to you when I have business questions, especially again, as someone who is not from Finland, but living in Finland, you always need an expander to be like, okay, this is another person who said this and there might be something true to it, and getting out of my own brain and actually doing and building the life that I want to build. I don't know if I made sense, but I just had
You
to say
did. No, beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay. 1 hour has passed. This is how these goes. We just chat, 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 chat,
Yeah.
and time's
That
up.
went quickly.
It always does, I know. Do you have any closing message for the women who are in this community? The women are all, holding beautiful visions for life. Some
Yeah.
of them are already doing well. Some of them are finding courage to go after it. Any closing message for the women of this community?
Well, I guess my closing message is like really like, because we live in a world that we know this. The phone is an extension of our beings. We're on our phones all the time. We get messages, notifications, and pings all the freaking time. We're available all the time, and there's news all the time, and we're all already like desensitized, I feel like, to almost the horrible things happening in the world. So really, like, if you have like, yes, you can even use your phone for this, like just schedule like 5 minutes per day that you attune to your own energy, to your own frequency, and like what is important and what is like one step that you can take in your life to move more so that you're more in line with you, whatever that looks like. It's going to be different every day, but just like even 5 minutes, a little moment to tune in with yourself. And we're always looking for the answer from outside of ourselves, and that's, I do believe in having teachers and mentors and courses and all these things, yes, but the wisdom is within, and it's just about like attunement and really connect with yourself. And then another sorry, I can't just say one thing. One more
Go
thing
for
is
it.
like, and then like the action thing, what you said is, we're like, okay, we need more certifications, we need more information, we need more courage, we need more this and that, and we come up with so many excuses why not to do something, while a 20-year-old in Bali is like charging 7 figures for no, I'm just not to take away from them, but you know what I'm saying? Like, take action. Take action. There's people with less qualifications that are doing whatever it is that you want to be doing. Take action now in any which way that you can, that will light you up. And if you don't know what will light you up, then attunement, connect with yourself, and it'll come. So those are my 2 things. Sorry, it couldn't just be one. I had to give
It's
it.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. That's all for today. Thank you so, so, so much, Ava, for taking the time out, for having this conversation.
Yeah.
I hope this was as unfiltered and enjoyable as our normal lunch conversations, even though there were like women joining in and there's some comments here as well. But I wish you and everyone who has joined a beautiful Friday, a beautiful weekend. As Eva said, attune with yourself, align with your frequency, and then act on the life that you want to create.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.